Imagine being fired from your job for doing something you believe in, helping someone in need. Now, picture that very same act changing your life in ways you could never have imagined. It sounds like the plot of a movie, right? Well, let me take you through the real-life journey of a girl who helped Keanu Reeves, only to find that the next day she got news that would change her life forever. It's a reminder that you never know where a simple act of kindness will take you. The story begins in a small, somewhat unremarkable cafe in a bustling city. It wasn't a place that had any grand fame or recognition, but it had something special, a kind of warmth that made everyone who came in feel at home. The coffee was freshly brewed, the pastries were made with care, and the staff was always friendly. Among them was a young girl who worked as a barista. Her life was like many others, busy, filled with routine, but she had big dreams. She had always wanted to do something more, something impactful. But for the moment, her world revolved around the cafe. Despite the long hours, the tiring shifts, and the difficult customers, she loved the work. It gave her a sense of accomplishment, and there was something deeply satisfying about being able to brighten someone's day with a cup of coffee or a friendly smile. She wasn't just serving drinks, she was creating small moments of connection. She knew her regulars by name, often chatting with them about their lives, their families, and their dreams. To her, these conversations were just as valuable as the coffee she made. They gave her a sense of purpose, and she truly believed that every interaction could make a difference in someone's life, even if it was just for a few minutes. Her boss, however, was a different story. The cafe owner was known for his tough demeanor, his no-nonsense attitude, and his constant pressure to increase sales. He demanded perfection from his employees, often pushing them to the limit. The girl had learned to navigate this demanding environment, keeping her head down and doing her best to meet the owner's expectations. But deep down, she knew this wasn't the kind of place where she could stay forever. Still, she kept her dreams close to her heart. She often thought about doing something bigger, something that would allow her to help people on a larger scale. She had always been passionate about making a difference in the world, especially in the lives of young people. She dreamed of one day running a program that would inspire others, just as she had been inspired by her own experiences. But for now, all she could do was focus on her job, making coffee, serving pastries, and trying to be a light in the lives of those around her. One day, the cafe was particularly busy. The usual lunchtime rush was in full swing, and the girl was running around behind the counter, preparing orders and trying to keep up with the growing line of customers. The sound of coffee machines hissing, the clinking of mugs, and the murmur of voices filled the air. But then, the bell above the door jingled, signaling another customer. The girl barely glanced up at first. Just another customer, right? But then she froze. Her heart skipped a beat. Standing in the doorway, casually scanning the menu, was none other than Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves. The name alone sent a wave of excitement through her. This was a man who was known worldwide for his iconic roles in The Matrix, John Wick, Speed, and so many other films. He wasn't just a famous actor, he was a legend. But what struck her more than his fame was his reputation. Keanu was known for being one of the most down-to-earth, humble celebrities in the industry. He was beloved not just for his acting, but for his kindness and authenticity. The girl had seen him in interviews, heard stories about how he treated people with respect, and how he was always willing to go the extra mile for others. She had admired him from afar, but never in a million years did she expect to meet him in her tiny cafe. For a moment, she just stood there, trying to process what was happening. But then, she quickly regained her composure. This was her job, after all. She had to treat every customer the same, whether they were a local regular or an A-list celebrity. Keanu stepped up to the counter, and with a smile that seemed to light up the entire cafe, he ordered a simple black coffee. Nothing flashy, just a regular cup of coffee, like any other customer would. She smiled and nodded, getting to work on his order, trying not to let the nerves take over. As she prepared his coffee, she couldn't help but notice that Keanu was scanning the room, looking around as if something was on his mind. He didn't seem impatient or demanding. He was calm, relaxed, and appeared to be lost in thought. For a moment, she wondered if he was feeling the weight of fame. After all, it must be exhausting to be in the spotlight all the time, constantly under scrutiny. But then she saw it, a small flicker of exhaustion in his eyes. The kind of exhaustion that comes from years of giving so much of yourself to the world, yet still feeling like there was something missing. She wasn't sure why, but in that moment, she felt compelled to do something more than just serve him a coffee. She leaned over the counter and asked, "Are you okay, sir? You seem like you've had a long day." Keanu looked at her, a little surprised at the genuine concern in her voice. For a moment, he didn't say anything, just studied her for a second. Then, he smiled softly. "It's been a long few weeks, actually," he said, his voice calm but carrying a weight that was hard to ignore. "A lot on my mind. You try to stay positive, but sometimes it gets to be too much." The girl nodded, understanding more than he might have realized. She had her own struggles, her own moments when she felt overwhelmed by the pressures of life. But there was something about Keanu, his openness, his honesty, that made her want to offer something more than just sympathy. Without thinking, she said, "Well, I have a secret ingredient I always add to my coffee when I'm having a tough day. A little extra chocolate syrup. It doesn't solve everything, but it helps." Keanu chuckled, clearly amused by her offer. "Chocolate syrup?" he asked, his eyes twinkling. "I think I'll take you up on that." So she added the extra chocolate syrup, stirring it into his coffee with a little extra care, and handed it over with a smile. "Here you go, on the house, a little sweetness for your day." Keanu took the cup, and for a brief moment their eyes met again. "Thank you," he said sincerely, a genuine warmth in his voice. "It's the little things, you know? Sometimes we forget that kindness is what really matters." In that moment, the girl felt something shift inside her. It wasn't just about giving him a cup of coffee. It was about the connection, the human moment they had shared. She had made a difference, even if it was just in that one small way. She could see the difference it had made to him, and it made her realize how powerful a simple act of kindness could be. But as the day went on, things took a turn. As the girl continued with her work, she overheard a conversation between her boss and one of the managers in the back. "We can't be wasting time on celebrities and their special requests," the owner muttered. "We need to keep this place running efficiently. If someone wants chocolate syrup in their coffee, they can pay for it like everyone else." The words hit her hard. She had always believed that kindness was part of what made a good business great. But here was her boss, saying the opposite, treating people like commodities and valuing efficiency over empathy. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that she couldn't continue working in an environment like that. It didn't align with her values. It didn't feel right. As the shift came to a close, the girl made a decision. She had already made a small, meaningful impact on someone's day. But she couldn't continue working somewhere that didn't believe in the same values she held dear. She walked into the back office and handed in her apron. Her boss wasn't happy, of course. "You're quitting over a customer?" he asked, his voice cold. She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she simply nodded. "I have to do what feels right. I can't stay in a place where kindness is frowned upon. I want to do something more, something meaningful." The next day, just as she was starting to question whether she had made the right choice, the phone rang. It wasn't just any phone call. It was Keanu Reeves' assistant, telling her that Keanu had been so impressed by her kindness and her authenticity that he wanted to personally thank her. But that wasn't all. Keanu had a project coming up, a charity event focused on empowering young people to pursue careers in the arts. He had been looking for someone with a genuine heart, someone who believed in helping others. And he thought of her. She was offered a role with his charity organization, helping to organize the event, mentor young people, and even contribute to a program that provided scholarships for underprivileged students. This wasn't just any job. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. The girl had always dreamed of doing something impactful, and here was her chance to make a real difference in the world. Keanu's gesture, his act of kindness, had opened doors she never thought possible. What started as a simple, small act, adding extra chocolate syrup to his coffee, had led her down a path she had always dreamed of. She couldn't believe it. One act of kindness had led to a complete transformation in her life. Her journey didn't end there. She went on to help organize events that changed the lives of young people. She became a voice for those who needed support, and she was able to mentor others in a way that would have been impossible without that one decision, the decision to be kind. Keanu's belief in kindness and his support showed her the true power of making a difference.